Hello students, today we are going to start Supplementary 6th, The Making of a Scientist by Robert W. Patterson. Richard Albright has received the Searle Scholar Award and the Searching Plough Award for Biochemistry and Molecular Biology. It was his fascination for butterflies that opened the world of science to him. At the age of 22, he discovered how cells work with his college roommate James R. Wong. His new theory on how cells work in butterflies was explained in an article in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science. This scientific journal had for the first time published the work of college students. Just like a batter in the game of baseball scores a home run after running safely round the field, Richard Albright also crossed all hurdles and did a successful research in the insect work study which he had started in his childhood. Albright, an only child, lived in Pennsylvania with his mother. His father died when he was in third grade, so he was everything for his mother. He couldn't play football or baseball as he was quite alone, so he collected things. He collected rocks, fossils, and coins. He started collecting butterflies when he was in second standard. Albright's mother loved him very much and spent a lot of time with him. She took him on trips, bought him telescopes, microscopes, and cameras. She was his best friend. By the time he was in second grade, he had collected all 25 species of butterflies found around his hometown. His mother brought him a book named The Travels of Monarch X. That book told him how the monarch butterflies migrate to Central America. At the end of the book, the readers were asked to tag butterflies for research. It was being done by Dr. Frederick of Toronto University, Canada. Albright started tagging monarch butterflies as it would be difficult chasing them. He started breeding them in his basement. When they became adults, he would tag the butterflies' wings and let them go. When he was in 7th grade, he entered a county science fair and showed slides of frog tissues under a microscope. He didn't win a prize, so next he decided to do a real experiment. The next year, he did a project on insect work. For his 8th grade project, he tried to find the cause of a viral disease which killed all monarch caterpillars. He thought the disease might be carried by a beetle. So he raised caterpillars in the presence of beetles, but he was unable to get any real results, but the project won him a prize. Now, Albright started to work on a project that Viceroy butterflies copied monarchs. Their theory was that Viceroy butterflies would copy the monarchs because birds don't like to eat monarchs. However, Albright found that a starling would not eat ordinary bird food but would love to eat all the monarchs it could get. This project got first prize in the zoology division and got third prize overall in the county science fair. In the second year of his high school, Richard began to do research of an unknown hormone in the 12 gold spots on the monarch butterflies, which were considered to be ornamental. In his senior year, he proved that the cells of a monarch pupa would develop into a normal butterfly wing only if they were fed the hormone from the gold spots. This project won the first place in the county fair and entry into the International Science and Engineering Fair. There, he won the third place for zoology. He also got a chance to work during the summer at the entomology laboratory of the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. At high school junior, he continued his study, and that year his project on the monarch butterfly won first place at the International Science Fair and gave him another chance to work in the Army laboratory during the summer. In his senior year, he grew cells from a monarch's wing in, in a culture and showed that the cells would divide and develop into normal butterfly wing scales only if they were fed the hormone from the gold spots. He spent the summer after graduation doing further work at the Army Laboratory and the lab of the US Department of Agriculture. The sophisticated instruments at the lab helped him to identify the chemical structure of the hormone. While studying the X-ray photographs of the hormone, he found yet another important thing about how a cell can read the blueprint of its DNA. The DNA is the substance in the nucleus of a cell that controls heredity. It determines the form and function of the cell. Ebright and his college roommate James R. Wong drew pictures and constructed plastic models of molecules to show how it could happen. Then they wrote the paper explaining the theory. Richard Ebright graduated from Harvard with highest honors and second in his class of 1510. He then became a graduate student researcher at Harvard Medical School. If his DNA theory proves right, it would be a big step in understanding the processes of life and in preventing some types of cancer and other diseases. Ebright has also been a champion debater, public speaker, and a good canoeist, an all-round outdoors person and expert photographer of nature and scientific exhibits. In school, he was a student and he also put in his energy towards the debating and Model United Nations clubs. He admired his social studies teacher and advisor, Richard A. Weyher, who opened his mind to new ideas. Richard was competitive right from the beginning. His social studies teacher, Mr. Richard Weyher, praised him a lot. Ebright had all the qualities that make a true scientist. He was not interested in winning for a prize, but he wanted to do the best job he could. He had the traits of a scientist. First, he had a first-rate mind, curiosity, and the will to win. He never lost his scientific curiosity. So I hope, students, you would have understood the chapter. Thank you.